Many thanks for staying with us and welcome back to Namibia Connects. Now, truckers transporting goods to neighboring countries face a number of risks, including hijacking by criminals. Local truckers often fall victim to them, especially in neighboring South Africa. And this week, we, of course, saw one particular incident involving a Mr. Alan Gavanab, who, of course, was a victim of this particular activity. And we're now joined in studio by the General Secretary of Nareto, that's Peterson Kambinda, who's here to discuss on safety concerning truck drivers and more. Peterson, a very good day to you. Always a pleasure to engage in Nareto. How are you and how are things going again?
No, thank you very much, and good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers. And no, we are doing, I think, due to circumstances, but we are doing extremely very well as an organization.
Fantastic.
And thank you for having us.
Fantastic. Always a pleasure. Of course, Peterson, we know of the incident that happened on Sunday where a Namibian trucker was hijacked in the Campton Park area, if I'm not mistaken. As the media, we know about these particular details and what we've reported on. We know that the truck and the trailer were found a day after. We know that the driver was found as well to be in fairly good condition. But I know you were particularly very involved, directly in contact with the truck owner, with authorities, etc. Just reflect on that particular event and, of course, what transpired since here.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Maybe from the beginning, I just have to be able to say that the truck drivers, they are becoming now almost like very risky. They are operating in a very risky environment, especially when they go to South Africa. The whole country, it is becoming a very risky. You cannot even be able to pinpoint that which area is risky, but it's almost the whole South Africa. But in the specific incident for Comrade Anton is that unfortunately he fell victim to this incident that when he went to, he was going with the load to go and offload near OR Tambo, and during that incident then we got informed on that Sunday specific day that no, he's missing, because it is nowadays it's easier to detect that when a truck is involved in a suspicious of hijacking due to technologies the which GPS, are attached on the truck and all of those things. But we are also very much relieved that he have finally been found safe and with all collaboration. And I have just to be saying that the power of social media, including NBC, we have to be thanking you.
Thank you.
That this is almost our second incident which we have collaborated, exchanging information with the media, NBC being one of our key, that even the last incident that when the tracker was found, the first people which got contacted was also NBC. They are the one who even have to be able to let us know, because when we gave the message to NBC, and in this case they ran the campaign with us to look for information, and it came through that he was found. And we have also to thank also the owner, that the owner of the company, when it went more than 24 hours, he flew himself to South Africa for him to go and assist the authorities that site. And when he got there, fortunately, then he had been found, and he made the arrangement for him to be able to bring his employee back to the country.
Fantastic stuff. Obviously, you know, Peterson, while this situation continues, it poses a great risk because of, you know, the role that truckers and, you know, this mode of transport plays in our economy. We've seen it during the pandemic, how important, you know, this particular sector is for our economy. And now all the more, I think this poses a very great risk to the very running of our economy. Talk to us about the engagements with authorities that side in South Africa, perhaps with our embassies, with law enforcement, all of that. What is the conversation right now around improving security for truckers, especially Namibian truckers in South Africa?
Yeah, at this stage, I would not be able to be saying that there had been engagement between ourselves and the authorities that side. The only thing which we have done is that we wrote last year a letter to the Inspector General of the Namibian Police. We went and sit down with the his delegation. Unfortunately, that time himself he was not available, but he gave us a delegation, which we went and sit and explain all of these type of arrangements, and of which from there we need now to be able to have a follow-up meeting, which have not yet taken place, of which we still hope that that meeting will be able to take anytime soon, considering that we are entering a festive season. It will be much better if that meeting could be able to take place before that time, so that we can be able to see to it that how do we collaborate, all of us, to see to it that our drivers are going to be safe, especially when they go into foreign countries.
Very much indeed. Talk to us about, in the meantime, how we are equipping truckers and truck drivers with safety measures to, of course, perhaps be on the lookout for these incidences, and also what to do during these incidences here.
Yeah, the good thing of currently now, which we appreciate also as a union, is that a lot of companies continuously buying new trucks, and these new trucks, they are most of the time they are equipped with all the necessary equipments that trackings, which some of these trackings can be able to easily be able to be found by any person, but some of them, almost each and every truck is equipped with a tracking which can be able to be seen by anybody, but there is a tracking which only the service provider, let me say Volvo or Scania, can only be able to find that. And this we appreciate this type of arrangements, that a lot of these companies, they are having those sort of trucks which got those, but there is still also companies which are still using, I can be able to say, outdated trucks which don't have those facilities, and then it becomes problem. The other thing also is that some of the companies, when they purchase these trucks, some of them, they don't train also the drivers to be able to use them. That in an event, because there is also panic buttons, there is buttons for hijackings and all of those things which you can be able to press in an event that you find yourself that. So it is also, a person can have this truck, but if this person is not trained how to use it, it can be hijacked, but you don't know what to do. But some of the companies, which I can be able to say majority of them, they are doing that they, when they hire a driver, some of them, they don't just assume. They will be able to say that when a driver is hired, they will take a day or two at least to give training to this driver to say that in an event of this is what you need to be able to do. So those are some of the safety measures which we cannot be able to take credit for, but which at least the suppliers of these trucks are at least putting into place.
Very much indeed. From what you've mentioned, that the majority of truck owners, truck companies, etc., do of course adopt these technologies, etc. But then there are also those few who do not. How big of a challenge is this to bring them, to the table, to the party, to say that, look, let us adopt these new technologies, these new measures, especially how difficult is it in the absence of any policies or guidelines that of course speak to strengthening safety of truck drivers here? Are there currently any policies that speak to the particular safety of truck drivers here?
The challenge which we are currently having, which you have rightfully said, is that in the absence of the safety, the policies, and policies which you can be able to say that in the absence of, in this case, laws, which can be able to be a very serious challenge, which we can be able to say that majority of how our Labour Act had been crafted, the truck drivers, I could be able to say that a lot of the things, if you look at it, it is mostly covering the people which are working Monday to Friday, of which the truck drivers, they don't work like that. And also, the law, it's mostly like people which are working from 8 to 5, of which a truck driver, that time we can be able to say the day is still very young. At 5 o'clock you can't find a truck pulling off. So it is the absence of the amendment of the law to be able to prevent that. It also makes it very difficult from a union, because even when you go to a company and you want to be able to speak that, they will always be able to refer, but you are talking to me as referring to what?
To what? There's nothing that guides us.
Yes, there's nothing which is guiding us. That is also one of the things which we will need to be able to be to look at law reforms as a union. And it's unfortunate, or maybe it can be able to be fortunate that now there is a union which is of Naretu, which might be able to, that will be able to be the next thing which will be on our agenda, that we need to look at law reforms. How do we be able to put laws which can be able to protect the truckers going forward?
Very much indeed. Obviously, we know that, you know, this experience can be very horrific, and maybe as a public we don't really understand just how horrific, you know, a hijacking of this nature can be. Talk to us about some of the personal testimonies, some of the personal stories that you've heard as General Secretary of Naretu. Yeah.
You see, we were having an incident last year toward the end of a year of where a trucker got hijacked, and when they hijacked him, the hijackers, they came to him and then they said, okay, bring your phone. He gave them the phone. And when they looked into his phone, then they said, open your bank app. And he opened the bank app, and when they went there, there was an amount of, he was doing saving to be able to do something. And it was a very big, substantial amount of which was on his account that time. And they told him to transfer that money immediately that time. And it becomes problem now for this person, for him to be able to go through such an ordeal, that the money which he did not expect to lose just in an event like that, and he lost that money just like that. So it is one of the thing, and the other, maybe just for sake of time, the next one is that one of the trucker again last year, he got hijacked and they took him to a certain place. Most of the time when they hijack you, because these people when they hijack a truck, they know already what you are carrying, because they monitor you for a certain time. They know what you are carrying. They will be able to take you to a certain place. They will go keep you there. And they need to make sure that before they release you, they whatever you are carrying, they have sold it first.
My goodness.
Because whatever in the truck, they first have, because they are not interested into the truck and everything. They are interested in the consignment. So they will make sure that until such a time that the consignment is sold, that is the time they will release you. But when he got released, what they do is that they won't release you with anything. They will release you as how you were born, naked. And they will let you just go dump you somewhere where they know that it's far from the police station, far from people, so that by the time you will be able to get to the people or to the police station, that time it is quite a bit late. So these are some of the testimonies which had been brought to us by our members.
Very traumatizing events, Peterson. I think, you know, certainly more needs to be done. What would you like to see as Naretu going forward, especially after this incident of Mr. Anton Govan up here?
Now, what we would like it to be able to, because this thing, I know that we are still going to experience a lot, which are still going to be coming up. And what we will just be able to call up is that employers, when an employee is involved into a hijacking, we would like the employers, after the employee have come back, they need to be able to take care of this employee, put him even through counseling, and until such a time that this person is really ready to be able to get back on the track and drive. But what we have seen, most of the hijackings which have happened, an employee will come back after a hijack, will be here, the employer release him for a week, and after a week, he's being called to come back to work, and is being still being put on the same routes for him to be able to go back where he just experienced such trauma. One would be able to expect that such an employee might even be able to be taken from there, maybe be sent even to do locals here in the country, at least maybe for a certain time, of which the professionals could be able to cancel him until such time that they are being given a green light that, okay, this person is emotionally fit for him to be able to go back to South Africa as an example. But most of the employers, they are not doing those type of things. A person just come the next week, he's being sent back to that side.
So we need to do better in that regard. Peterson, I know that you're also very passionate about, of course, labor issues, and that's why, you are the General Secretary of Naretu. Just looking at the general working conditions relating to truck drivers. We know in the past it was an incident, a situation of long hours. You'd have people drive from DR Congo, for instance, to South Africa, and they are expected to do that within, say, a week, as an example, for instance. We know that the situation regarding, the salaries, etc., was not quite convenient, so to say, the minimum wages, etc., entry-level salaries, all of that. How far have we come in as far as making the lives of truckers more comfortable for them?
Yeah, no, sometimes it is very difficult for someone to give credit to yourself of what you will be able to do. I will appreciate sometime maybe if you will be able to touch base with the people where we are providing service for them to give us credit on what we are doing, because they will be in a better position to evaluate our output. But what I will be able to say, as far as since the question have come, I will just be able to say that our people now, they are in 3 years of Naretu's existence, have tried to be able to do a lot of corrections of what have been happening almost for 31 days. We have corrected a lot of things that currently now, all the companies where Naretu is recognized, we have got, I could be able to say that we have got maybe 85% with sound labor relations with employers, of which, because at the beginning it was that they were fighting us without understanding that actually we can be able to be a very good stakeholder for us to be able to move our country forward, which we have been doing it extremely very well. And a lot of employers even now, they have seen that the production, the output from their workers, it is much better, because happy employees are productive employees. That the gains, we will be able to find some of the easy example I will be able to give you as far as salaries are concerned, that you will find employees were recruited in the same year in one company. When they were recruited, because this one smiled very well with the employer, was given, let me say, 10,000. The other one, because did not smile, and then was given 8,000. But now when Naretu come in, then we came and tell the employer that, look, the reason you are having an unhappy employee is because this one is getting a 10,000. This one, same level. This one, they are doing the same job, recruited in the same year. Correct this and you will see a difference. Those things got corrected, and then he started seeing that these people, they are pushing at the same level, the same pace, and all of those things are good. And then we also told them that, look, for you just to be pushing an employee that when he's supposed to rest, but you are just pushing. I will be able to give you a last example is that a person can have a driver can have a house here in Windhoek. He's coming from Cape Town. He arrived, let me say, 6 o'clock in Windhoek. The employer will be able to tell him, listen, proceed, you are on your way to Valfes, proceed at least and go and sleep in Okahanja. He don't want him just to sleep at his house so that the next morning he proceed. This is an unhappy employee. But now when we came in and tell them that, listen, just allow this employee to go and sleep at the house. Tomorrow he will give you a very good trip.
You even go a bit earlier tomorrow.
And then morning. Tomorrow they realize that the next day this employer even leave his house, leave the wife 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's driving. The load by 2 o'clock, it's in Valfes. So then when all of these things came in, that is how the production started now improving, and they started appreciating the effort and the changes of which the union is
Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. Peterson, just in conclusion, I think, we need to have better appreciation for truck drivers, both as a public, both as employers. I think How can we make lives better for our truckers? Just your message to the Namibian public, to employers, etc., and all stakeholders involved there.
Yeah, maybe just from the public side is that I think the truckers, we need to be able to see them in a positive light, because in our economy here, since we have now known it's a public open secret that we are not getting so much goods through the air since the air Namibia is down.
Yes.
We are not getting through a lot of goods through the train since our train is not so reliable, or some of the railways are no longer operational. And all that. Most of the stuff are now being brought through the road, which means that they are being brought through the truckers. Most of the things which we are dressing, which we are eating, which we are using building materials are coming with the road. And the public need to appreciate the truckers. And to the employers, I will just be able to say that as a union, we have committed ourselves to say that we are not just people who come into the company to bring problems, but we take ourselves as a stakeholder. And as a stakeholder, you don't want to destroy, you want to build, so that we can be able to have a very good economy. And from our side, I would also just be able to say that as a union, we don't want it to be negotiating retrenchments.
That's the thing, yes.
If you ask me, my preferable negotiation is that let us make money and then we negotiate to get more money. But I don't like to negotiate retrenchments because that means we are sending people into the street. But how do I have to make sure that this company exists? I have to make sure that I am a stakeholder. Let me contribute positively for this company to make money, and then my people will get more money, and the employer also get more money. So that is our position, how we look at all of this.
Peterson Kambinda, thank you for being with us. Always a pleasure talking to you about all things labor related. Thank you for the work that you're doing as Naretu. Thank you for your involvement in making the lives and safety of truck drivers more pleasant. Thank you for being with us here.
Thank you very much.
We have a General Secretary of Naretu, that's Peterson Kambinda, just talking to us there about an incident you may have heard of in the news during the course of this week. Of course, on Sunday, we learned that a trucker, a Mr. Governor, was hijacked, became a victim of hijacking in South Africa in the Campton Park area. The truck has since been recovered. He has since been recovered, and we're just catching up with Naretu regarding the safety of truckers, saying that the situation in South Africa is a huge concern for them, and calling on stakeholders to do more with their efforts, of course, to make sure that the safety and well-being of all truck drivers is a priority.